Hello my dear friends, today we will discuss measures of location and partition values. Usually in statistical analysis, we try to find out what is average result. What does it mean exactly? It means what is that number around which all values lie. It means we are locating that number. That central value. Exactly that central value describes a measure of location. This is the value that describes the data in better manner. The values differing from this central value gives the idea about measure of spread. It means distance from central value. Usually different types of averages are taken as measures of location, as they enable to locate the position of distribution. They are typical values around which other values congregate. They are values between two extreme observations that may be smallest or largest for any distribution. Accordingly, some of authors have added this in measures of central tendency too. They are useful for distribution in concise manner, for comparative study of different distributions. Now we will see some of the requisites of good average or measures of central tendency. According to Professor Yule, following requirements are there for ideal average or measures of central tendency. First of all, it should be rigidly defined. It means it should be clear and unambiguous. It should be without bias. It should be such that anyone could use for interpretation. Second, it is easy to understand and calculate. It means even non-mathematical person should be able to calculate without much effort, but accuracy should not be compromised. Third, it should be based on all observations. Means computation of ideal average or measures of central tendency should be based on entire set of data, otherwise chances of error remains as representative of data. Next is, it should be less affected by fluctuation of sampling. For ideal average or measures of central tendency, computation from various samplings should not affect too much. It means all sampling should give near about values. Then it should be suitable for further measurements. It means it must be suitable enough for further mathematical or statistical calculations based on average or measures of central tendency. Now see measures of central tendency. A measure of central tendency is a single value occupying central position within a set of data to describe that set of data. As such, measures of central tendency are sometimes called measures of central location. According to different conditions, individual type of central tendency measure is taken in consideration. Various measures of central tendency are there, like arithmetic mean or simply mean, median, mode, geometric mean or harmonic mean. Now we'll see arithmetic mean. The mean is the most popular measure of central tendency. It is mostly used in continuous data. However, it can be used for both discrete and continuous data. To know about the different types of data and variables, you can watch our another video on data types or data. Then the mean of given set of observations is equal to the sum of all values in data set divided by number of values in data set. So we have n values in data set and they have different values like x1, x2 to up to xn. The sample mean usually is denoted by x bar. So x bar is equal to x1 x plus x2 up to xn divided by n. It means sigma x means summation of x divided by n. So it has various merits and demerits. Merits, if we talk, it is easy to calculate and simple in understanding. It is rigidly defined. Every item of data set is important. Its values can be used for further mathematical calculations. It cannot be located by simple inspection. It means we have to calculate, then only we can locate this. Demerits, whenever we talk, extreme observations affect this. Suppose if we are talking about the mean of 10, 20, 30. So this is coming 20. If last value in place of 30 it is coming 120 like that, then total value will come 150 and then mean will change from 20 to 50 just due to one extreme value. So another demerit, if we talk, it is not suitable for asymmetrical distributions because irregular values of variables or skewed values that affect too much. It is not suitable for qualitative characteristics. It cannot be obtained even if a single observation is missing. So these are the different types of demerits. Now another one is median. The median is that value of a variable which divides the group in two equal parts. One part comprising the value greater than median, while other part is having all the values less than median. It is value such that number of observations above is exactly equal to the number of observations below it. You can see if we are talking about the data set with odd amount of number. So in this given data set 5, 11, 3, 25, 15, 36, 47. First of all we arrange that in ascending order. The median value is the number exactly in the middle, that's the 15 in this case, because there are 3 numbers on either side. But when we talk about an even amount of number, like in this data set if you see, so exactly pair in middle is determined and then average of that is taken. So in this case 15 plus 17, average if we are taking, that's coming to 16, so 16 is there. So median is also having various merits and demerits. Median is also rigidly defined. It is easy to calculate for a non-mathematical persons even. It is not affected by extreme observations as it is positional average. It can be located by simple inspection. Median is only average for qualitative characteristics which cannot be measured quantitatively but can be arranged as in ascending or descending order like intelligence, honesty, beauty, etc. Demerits, whenever we talk, like being a positional average, it is not based on every item. It is not suitable for further mathematical treatment, and then it is less stable than mean, particularly for small samples. The third one is mode. Mode is a value which occurs most frequently in a set of observation. It is the value around which the item tends to be concentrated. It is value with greatest frequency distribution in its immediate neighborhood. It is value of variable with maximum frequency. If two or more variables are having same frequency, then it is called as bimodal or multimodal. Like here you can see we have one given data set. So here you can see that 2 and 5, 2, 5 and 8, they are repeated thrice. So if they have been repeated thrice, it means all 3 are the modes. But when the score of group all have the same frequency, there is no mode. Like 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 6, 6, 9, 9. If 2 adjacent values are the maximum frequency, then the average of 2 adjacent scores is the mode. Like here you can see that average of 3 and 5 we have taken, that's the 4. So modes are also having various merits and demerits. Merits, if we talk, it is easy to calculate and understand. In some cases it can be calculated by inspection even. It is not affected by extreme observations. It can be obtained in open-end classes. Demerits, when we talk, it is not rigidly defined as it differs with maximum frequency, and maximum frequency may be repeated or may occur at the end of distribution. It is not based on all observation but on maximum frequency only. It is not suitable for further mathematical treatment. It is affected by fluctuations of sampling. Then it comes to geometric mean. Geometric mean, if we talk, the geometric mean of a set of n observation is the nth root of their products. If n we are taking as 2, then geometric mean is calculated by taking a square root of product of two observations. As for geometric mean of 4 and 16 we are taking, then a square root of 4 and 16, if you see, that's the 4 into 16, that's 64, square root is coming 8. So if it is greater than 2, then it is 1 by n antilog of products of all data item. So in case of grouped or continuous frequency distribution, the value of x are the geometric mean is most useful when numbers in the series are not independent of each other, or if numbers tends to make large fluctuations. There are various merits and demerits. Merits, if we talk, it is rigidly defined, it is based on all observations, it is suitable for further mathematical calculations, it is less affected by extreme observations in comparison to mean. Demerits, if we talk, because of its abstract mathematical character, it is not easy to understand. If any of observation is 0, geometric mean becomes 0. Then another is harmonic mean. It is reciprocal of average of reciprocals. You can see the formula, n divided by 1 by x1 plus 1 by x2, like this way. So example, if you see what is the harmonic mean of 1, 4, 10 if we talk. So therefore reciprocals of 1, 4 and 10 we are taking. So then it will come like 1.25, 0.10, then we are adding this all and we are calculating harmonic mean, that's coming 2.22. So various merits, demerits are there. It is rigidly defined, it is based on all observation, it is suitable for further mathematical treatment, it is not affected much by fluctuations of sampling, it is useful in averaging special types of rates and ratios where time factor is variable and the act being performed, whatever we are going to perform, remains constant. Demerits, if we talk, it is not easy to understand and calculate, like you have seen. A lot of times reciprocals and then average we are taking like that way. Then its value cannot be obtained if any one of the observation is 0. That's there, 0 divided by something. You know what coming. Now along with this central tendency, a lot of times partition values are also taken. The values which divide the series into number of equal parts are called as partition values. Thus median may be taken as partition values as it divides the given data into equal parts. Some of the authors call these partition values as fractiles as it cut off a certain fraction of sample. Many of authors use the word quantiles. Some of these partition values we are going to talk. These are quartiles, deciles and percentiles. Quartiles, whenever we are talking, the values which divide the data in 4 equal parts are called as quartiles. So 3 quartiles are there because with 3 fragmentation you can divide in 4 equal parts. Those are, we are denoting with Q1, Q2 and Q3. Usually Q3 is a greater or equal to Q2 and Q2 is greater or equal to Q1. So this is the sequence. Q1 is termed as first or lower quartile. It is value which has 25% of items of distribution below it and 75% of items of distribution greater than that. Q2 is termed as second quartile. It is value which has equal number of items of the distribution below and above it. So computation, if we are talking lower quartile Q1, that's the n plus 1 into 1 by 4. Middle quartile n plus 1 into 2 by 4. While third quartile is 3 by 4, n plus 1 is common. So interquartile range if you are taking, that's a Q3 minus Q1. So computation based on frequency distribution if we talk, so first n by 4 we have to find and then we have to see the total frequency, then we have to see the summation of frequency, then see the cumulative frequency just greater than n by 4. Use the formula of Q1 1 plus h by f under bracket n by 4 minus c, and then where L is use the formula Q1 is equal to L plus H by F into N by 4 minus C, where L is equal to lower limit, H is equal to magnitude of class containing Q1, C is equal to cumulative frequency of the class preceding the class containing C Q1. So this formula can be used in that case. Then we comes to deciles. Deciles are values which divides the series into 10 equal parts. So 9 deciles are there because 9 fragmentations are needed to divide anything in 10 parts. So that's denoted by D1, D2, D3 up to D9. So same way D9 is the greatest one while D1 is the smallest one. And formula you can use for D1 n plus 1 divided by 10, for D7 7 into n plus 1 divided by 10, for D9 9 into n plus 1 divided by 10. So this way we can do these things. Percentiles, if we talk, percentiles are the values which divide the series into 100 equal parts. So 99 fragmentations are needed, so 99 percentiles are there. Same way here if we are denoting with P1 up to P99, and same way sequencing is there. So P99 is the greatest one or largest one while P1 is the smallest one. Computation, whenever we talk, first all the values in the data set are ordered from smallest to largest, then kth percent is multiplied by the total number of value, and if the value obtained is not a whole number, then it is rounded up. Now the values are counted from data set from left to right until the obtained number is found. This is the kth percentile. You can see in example like 25 test scores are ordered from lowest to highest as 45, 56, 58 up to 99. You can count this total 25 of them are there. So to find the 90th percentile, if we are talking, for this 90% is multiplied by 25, so we are getting 22.5. So next to 22.5 is 23rd. So 23rd value in the data set is 98. So 90th percentile is 98. Now if we want to find the 20th percentile, so it is coming 0.20 into 25 is equal to 5. This is the whole number. So the 20th percentile is the average of 5th and 6th values in order of data set. The 5th and 6th value, if you are seeing, this is 64 and 68. So 20th percentile is average of that, that's 64, and 68, that's the 66. So these are about the partition value and the measures of locations, measures of central tendency. So that's enough for this. Next time we will see measures of spread and how these things are used practically. Thanks a lot. If you like this lecture, please subscribe, like and share. We will cover the whole syllabus of research methodology and biostatistics for BMS, MD and MS. Thank you very much.